Alright guys, I just got back from the range and wanted to give you a quick report on the Milsurp Munitions Mannlicher 8x50R ammunition that I was shooting out of an original 1895 Austrian Mannlicher. Now most of you will know the majority of M95s today are chambered in 8x56R, which is currently commercially manufactured by PPU. However, we're shooting the original 8x50R cartridge that the Austro-Hungarians, later the Austrians, Hungarians, and Bulgarians used in this rifle up until 1930, when most of them were converted to fire the updated 8x56R cartridge. 8x56R is just a little more powerful, but since the 8x50R is the parent case, they're interchangeable with the end block clips. Over the last 5 years or so, Royal Tiger Imports has brought in lots of M95 long rifles, still chambered in the original 8x50R cartridge, since they weren't converted, so with a resurgence of them floating around the US market, this was a neat opportunity to shoot my RTI example. People do hand load for these too, but unconverted rifles haven't always been available in large numbers. This goes without saying that you as an owner need to take responsibility for checking out the headspace and fully cleaning out any rust in the bore and chamber, especially for those examples from Ethiopia. My example was alright after some care and cleaning, but I had to replace the ejector and extractor on mine. Mine even came with a nice Soviet 7.62x54R casing still in the chamber, which is probably the last thing it fired before the extractor broke, and they threw it in a shed for 60 years. Now, the Milsurp Munitions ammo uses a 323 diameter Spitzer bullet at 190 grains with a 2,300 feet per second estimate. He does use 8x56R brass as the base and sizes them down in order to make these, but I know some reloaders use Russian 7.62x54R brass, but I'm not sure the advantages of using one over the other in this case. Some people even shoot original 7.62x54 ammunition out of this. I don't recommend it. I don't know what the advantages, disadvantages. The bullet is obviously not going to be accurate, and I'm not sure what the pressure tolerances are and if it's safe or not. So with that being said, I was using a Caldwell G2 chronograph. The weather was evenly overcast, no rain, at about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind was negligible, but picked up from time to time. Now for this, I was shooting at 100 yards. I totally forgot to bring end block clips to the range, but I did have a 3D printed single shot adapter, which worked well enough. The bolt was a little sticky at first, and I needed to use a hammer to knock out the first round, which means I probably need to clean out the chamber a little more thoroughly, but the bolt was certainly sticky. I didn't see any cracks in the cases and inspected each one after each shot. Ooh. The final results after 12 readable shots, I ended up with an average velocity of 1,998 feet per second, a standard deviation of 56, and an extreme spread of 145. So, a fairly stable cartridge. Now, I was getting a few error readings on the chronograph, and I wasn't sure if this was from tumbling bullets or if I was too close to the chronograph, so I moved it back a few times before I was getting consistent data. You do see a little bit of a wave and a few dips in the data, but this could have been from moving the chronograph back a few feet near the end. The owner of Milsurp Munitions did say that their newer loads use a 208 grain bullet, since the ones I was shooting were from his first batch. As far as accuracy, I only counted 2 shots on paper out of 15 total at 100 yards. At one point in the footage, you can see the bullet just tear up the backboard and kick up dirt and wood splinters. Like I said, I had hit the metal target several feet away from the paper target at least twice. These were definitely keyholing at several points, if not most of the time. These results are unlikely to do with the ammunition itself and more to do with the poor state of the bore, which I can confirm is not the best looking for those of you familiar with RTI rifles. These were kept in poor storage in Ethiopia for decades, so not really surprising. My rear sight slide was also stuck at 1100 meters, and I didn't bother messing with it while I was there. The minimum sight is 300 meters, so I tried my best to undershoot the target to correct this, but alas, this is where I landed. I'll mess with it after the fact and see what we can get in the future as far as shots. But either way, it was nice to be able to shoot a cartridge that is basically commercially dead at this point. Now, the 8x50R Mannlicher ammunition that Milsurp Munitions sells is $60 a box, which isn't cheap, but totally understandable with a small one-man operation dealing with a very niche cartridge. Hopefully they'll be able to produce this long term and bring the cost down. Anyway, this was my overview shooting the Milsurp Munitions 323 8x50R Mannlicher cartridges, taking them to the range and testing them out. So with that being said, we'll see you guys later.